What tips would you give to somebody who has a really tight budget and they're trying to spend as little as possible? Because I don't want to say, be a Scrooge about renovations, but there are probably a lot of people that don't have the resources up front and are hoping that the home sells for a lot so that they get the money to pay off some of the stuff. But if they're on a really tight budget, how does that work?
Budget and priorities, Angela. I say budget and priorities. Give me your what one to end list of all the different things that you want to do in your house. What do we need to focus on first? If I can only do one thing, what's that thing? If I can only do two, what's that next? And then basically, where does the line get drawn? And that's what we do. And then I would call in somebody like yourself to do a massive deep clean, especially on some icky carpets, to do what we can with what we have, right? I've seen, I do have a great cleaner that I work with that she'll come in behind me and just make some amazing things happen. Sometimes just a deep clean can help solve some problems too.
And so is primarily what you're doing the paint? I know you'd mentioned backsplashes and, some tile and countertops and stuff like that. How big is the scope of what you do? And then what is like the smallest amount that can be done?
So I have done a project for $1,000 and I have done a project for $257,000. I have literally
Whoa.
done
Wow.
everything in between. The $1,000 job was a texture only. I had a gentleman who was in a very high end home and he just loved texture. He had brought in someone who was like an artist to put this plastic stuff on the walls. I mean, it looked really cool, but it was super personalized. So we literally just, resumed his walls back to a knockdown texture, which is standard for new construction here in San Antonio. And then the $257,000 job was on a house that was originally valued at 5 million and valued at 5.75 when I was done with it. So we
Wow.
do all kinds of things. Texture is a big thing here in Texas, and that's kind of regional. Brooke, you're in Charlotte, so I don't know how you guys feel about wall texture, but we love it in San Antonio. So we do a lot of that too.
Is there a
Yeah.
reason for the texture? Is that just a regional thing or is there a reason for it?
Well, there is a reason for it. So texturing hides all your imperfections, your foundation shifts.
Uh-huh.
So if you have a level 5 skim coat, which is super smooth, it is very, very beautiful. But the second that you get any kind of slight shift, you get big cracks. And
Okay.
so whenever you have texture, it kind of hides that a little bit more. But some things are just style too. Aaron, you can attest in Spring Branch, we love stained concrete floors. This There was an orange patina that was like really in, I don't know, like circa 20, 30 years ago. And you still see a whole lot of that. And so sometimes as a design team, it is, you're constantly thinking of, okay, especially if the budget only allows you to go so far, what can I do to make this go away? Right. So we do the very best we can given the elements that we have to work with. And, the budget kind of tells us what we can and can't do.
So when it comes to budget, do the banks cut the family a loan? Does the homeowner's insurance pay for it? Do you work from, money that comes in after the sale of the home? Like, how does that work if somebody wants to do a big project and the money is still tight?
Well, it's a great question because nobody wants to pay for it, right? I'm selling my house. Why would I spend money on my house? There's several conventional ways we can do it, but the easiest way is through our finance program. So I offer a 50,000 finance program where the client has to pay no money out of pocket. They have to apply, so you have to have decent credit, decent debt to income, but basically you can apply on our online portal. It will immediately render what you are approved for out of the 50,000, and then you have access to the funds the next day. And then I go on my end and I'll request payments and draws as we do construction and per the terms of the contract. And then whenever we're done, and when I finish my construction, they've paid the final payment, I'll click a little button, and that's when the 6 months starts. And the client has 6 months to sell a renovated home. Most people will take their proceeds at closing and they will immediately pay it off. So they're not paying anything out of pocket and they can retrieve not just the money they invested, but a whole lot more. So for people that do it, they're putting extra money in their pocket. And then, of course, the real estate agent benefits too, right? Because if you sell a house for more money, more commission.